What exactly is a Hemi? Because I've heard of it.
Hemispherical means that the spark plug comes into the top of the piston, not the side.
Welcome back to Christina's Garage Gearhead in Training. I'm back in San Antonio, Texas at Vintage Air for their open house. There are a ton of classic cars pulling up now. They're going to be doing tours of the facility. They're going to have food. It's going to be a blast. I love watching them pull in and listening to the rumble. Yeah, everybody's starting to show up. The parking lot is completely full with cars. They're going to be doing shop tours in a little bit. They got some food trucks over there. I really love to see how many different types of cars there are. It's not just one type. Oh, this VW is pretty cool. And as you guys are starting to get to know me, patina, I like patina. If I end up getting another car, we'll see if my husband ever lets me, I might need to do patina on it. Oh, and there's another one. Oh, this one's really, look how pretty that is. That's so cool. It's sealed off and looks great. This is so fun. I do like the color. It's really clean. How cool. And they got the winch on it, big tires. Check out the inside. Ooh, they have the back open. They got the big old spare tire. Wow. How cool. I love going to car shows with classic cars and just vintage vehicles. You see all sorts of things, and when they're upgraded too. Saw this truck, really clean. And I think this is an LS. I'm still learning what everything is, all the electronics. It looks very similar to all the LS engines I've seen. And then obviously we're at Vintage Air. You're able to see the air conditioning system from this end in the car. They're able to, they're doing R&D on new vehicles that they haven't done them before. They have so many other vehicles that they're able to, because I don't think you can see it from this angle. The main component is underneath there. Oh, that's pretty. I love truck beds with the wood in the back. That's my favorite. I would love for my brother to do that with his El Camino. I think it looks so pretty.
Dirty Ernie, gotta get him in there.
This is Dirty Ernie's car. He didn't want to do an interview. We still want to show his car, and I got to go back to the sticker that he has. He has his own, he works for a paint shop, and it's called Dirty's Custom Paints. Isn't that great? I love that. I told him the blue. I'm a sucker for blue. Such a cool car. I'm with Scotty. Rick introduced us, and I knew when he pointed out his '69 Camaro that we're going to be friends.
Excellent, excellent.
Would you mind telling us how you got the car and like what made you fall in love with it?
Okay, I've always been into classic cars ever since I got my first one at about 18, and it was a 1951 correction, 19 Chevy, and the '69 Camaro I actually saw in Atlanta, and when I found it, it was so beautiful that I had to have it, and it had everything I was looking for: LS motor, AC. This is Texas, you know, so you got to have that. And I couldn't, you know, it was the perfect color because here in Texas, the University of Texas, it's orange.
Oh.
So
okay.
That's, you know, because actually when I brought it home, the wife was like, "Why orange?" And I'm like, "Come on, this is Texas, you know." So that's the reason you see this orange color on it.
And you were talking about the cruise that you've gone on before. What was it called again?
It's called Cruising the Coast. It's down in Biloxi, Mississippi. And the good part about that is that they have over 10,000 cars on an annual basis coming in for it. And it's a week-long event. It goes from Sunday to Sunday. And you have car enthusiasts come in that are just over the moon about this because every little city around there has something going on, like Ocean Springs. They might have something going on one day. Another city might have something going on another day. And it's good to just, go to these different events. And then they have what they call Cruise Central, where all the cars kind of gather and everybody just kind of sits around and enjoys the company, and you're exchanging ideas and talking with car enthusiasts. And the good part is their fish industry, their sponsors, is one of the main sponsors. So they give out free shrimp during the whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really, really a lot of fun and a great event to go to. They have a flame throwing contest where you'll see flames going almost three stories high. You know what I mean? And you feel the heat and everything from them because it's just crazy. The police don't mess with you. They really just want you to be safe and everything.
Yeah.
They have an area where you can do burnouts right in front of the mall and all, and it's just one of those events where you just get excited about it. And downtown, if you can get there in time, they have parking downtown where everybody kind of gathers up. You'll see people camping out there just to get a spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many cars typically are that do it?
10,000 plus. And they come from all over the U.S., Europe, Canada, and Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
That might be something I'd have to look into. I don't have an engine yet.
Well.
Gonna work on getting there.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Scotty. I really appreciate you taking the time and showing me your beautiful car, and maybe eventually I'll see you out on that cruise.
Of course.
I'm here with Ernie, and I would love for you to tell us, this is a Bel Air, correct?
Yeah, it's not really a Bel Air.
Okay. So would you mind telling me what it is then?
It's just my invention, right? You could say, because it's actually a 4-door car, but we welded the back door shut, and we just made it into a 2-door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So what inspired you?
What inspired me? I've always liked muscle cars. I've had a 70 Barracuda. I also have a 68 Fastback Barracuda. I'm actually more Mopar, but since I was born in 1955, I've always wanted a 55, and so I bought this one.
And you said you're almost done with it?
Still have the interior to finish out, but pretty much all the exterior under the bottom, drivetrain, everything's already done.
So you redid the whole thing then?
I redid the whole thing. Yeah, it was a frame-off restoration. Pull the body off the frame, put new mounts on it, set it all back down on there, and then I did the rest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do with it? Are you going to go cruising on it? You're going to take it to car shows? What's your plan?
Yeah, it's just a cruiser for right now, but in the long run, I'll probably end up selling it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not even going to keep it then?
No, I won't keep it. I want to build a Roadrunner.
Yeah. Well, it's got to match the shirt, right?
Right.
That's awesome. So what did you put in it?
The engine and everything was already rebuilt by somebody else, and but we set the 350 into it.
Okay.
I'm an automatic transmission builder, so I built the automatic on it myself, and my plans in the future are put a 4-speed in it instead. I already have a Muncie 4-speed to put in it instead.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And there's so much room in here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I love that.
It's not like the new cars today. You can't even get in there. It's
Yeah,
all
well, they
cramped.
have all of the additional stuff on top of it
Right.
for smog and everything.
Right, yeah.
I think it's always really pretty to be able to see everything.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's
or to
really
work on
cool.
it is easier to take something off instead
Yeah.
of having to take 100,000 things off before you get
Yeah,
to work
just to
to
get
it.
to the knit and grit.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with me.
All right, thank you.
I'm really excited to see
Yeah.
what it looks like when it's done. I'm here with Kerry.
That's
I
correct.
was walking by and making friends and wanted to ask you about your car.
Sure.
First off, would you please let me know what this is, because I'm still learning.
This is a 1970 Dodge Super Bee.
Oh, that's a cool
Yeah.
name. What makes it a Super Bee?
This hood, this power bulge hood right here, it says Super Bee on it. And then I don't have the stripes on it. There's a reverse C that goes, which I'm gonna pick out, and then there's one that goes around the trunk. So undecided what I'm gonna go with.
Do they have other things in like the engine components or whatever that makes it a Super B?
No, just the body style, pretty much. They're called B bodies, so there's Roadrunners, GTXs, and Super Bs. They're all called a B body.
Okay.
And there's E bodies, like Cudas and Challengers are E bodies, and there's a few here.
Okay.
So yeah, these are the full size B bodies.
That's fun.
Yep.
How long have you had it for?
Oh, mid 80s. Yep.
That's awesome.
And slowly but surely working on it. This has got a 440 in it. It came stock with a 383, but little upgrades here and there.
What are you working on anything specific with it right now?
I'm to a point to where everything's quite expensive right now, like maybe some aluminum heads and an overdrive for the transmission to make it more of a cruiser, highway speeds. I've done quite a bit to it now, 4-wheel disc brakes, so now it's heads, overdrive, and a new AC system.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing the vintage air?
I will be, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I was noticing is that vintage airs had the ability, or they've taken the time to really customize towards each vehicle.
They sure have, yeah. This car is a factory air-conditioned car, and they make a kit for a factory, this car.
That's
so
perfect.
It's great. That's the one I'll go with.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you so much for taking
You're
the
welcome.
time.
I
and
appreciate it.
It's
Thank
cool to
you.
meet new people
Oh,
and learn about their
exactly.
cars, and now I'm learning a little bit more
I
about
wish
the
you the
Dodges.
best of luck for your tribute build.
Thank you
your
so
Camaro,
much.
awesome.
I'm here with Mike, and please remind me again, what specific kind of car is this?
This is a 1932 Ford Roadster.
And you were saying the difference between the Roadster and
Yeah, the Roadster doesn't have a top on it, and the coupes do. Yeah, I mean, there's 3 window coupes, there's 5 window coupes, but when the Roadster doesn't have a top, I mean, that's what it is.
It
No
looks
top.
really cool too, without the top and with the engine
Right.
showing. And you're saying this is a Hemi?
Yes, this is a 1958 392 Hemi.
What exactly is a Hemi? Because I've heard of it.
Hemispherical means that the spark plug comes into the top of the piston, not the side.
Okay.
And so, as a hemispherical piston comes up, it pushes all the gas and air up to the top. So when the spark plug ignites, it shoves it straight down.
Okay.
Chevrolets, Fords, spark plug is in the side. And so it creates a lot more torque than most motors do.
Interesting, because it comes out from, that's
Yeah.
really cool. And even the shape and everything looks different.
Yeah, the heads are enormous. I mean, if you look at the head from the side, it's one of the biggest parts of the motor. So it's the first thing people notice if the engine is up like this one is, where you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
This Hemi is the same as mine, but it's so sunken down in it, you can't get the real image of the heads. And that's one of the hallmarks of the Hemi, is how large the heads are.
It's massive looking.
It is, especially for 1958,
Okay.
right? I mean, that was a while back. This came out of a 1958 Imperial Chrysler.
Okay.
It's not a stock motor. We've done some things to it. This is an 871 blower.
What is that?
So blowers compound the atmospheric pressure that's going into the motor.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's what this is? You said this?
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's rotors inside of this, and when the gas goes down into the blower, the rotors are turning. It shoves more air down into the compression chamber,
Okay.
and so there's more air, and the more air and fuel mixture you got, the bigger the horsepower.
Okay.
So this motor dynoed at 750 horse,
Just a little bit of a get up.
which is a lot for a car that weighs 2,500 pounds.
You said it's fiberglass?
It is fiberglass. It's not a steel car, which is kind of a non-starter for a lot of guys. They want it to be a steel car because that's the real thing.
Okay.
Mine's fiberglass, and I don't care. It's fine with me. But at 2,500 pounds, the motor weighs 1,000, so it's heavy. A lot of people ask me if it pulls a wheelie, which it won't do. A, the tires aren't big enough in the back,
Okay.
And there's so much weight here, it just won't pull them, which is fine with me. But as big as the motor is, it looks like it might, but it won't.
Do you have any future plans for it? You're just gonna chill with it how it is?
So the car was finished in 13 or 14, and I ran it flat black for the longest time on the paint and no chrome. And people kept calling it a rat rod. It is not a rat rod. It would drive me ape. It made me nuts. So even with that, I was going to paint it flat black again, but we couldn't get it right. Just couldn't. So I went the other way. Gloss black, chromed a bunch of stuff, and I don't get asked anymore if it's a rat rod. But Bob Fodge built the car, did all the fabrication, built this motor, as a matter of fact. And Mike Ellis painted it. Mike Ellis has been a very famous painter in San Antonio for any number of years.
Wow.
He doesn't paint anymore. Mine may have been the last car he painted, but he did a great job. This car was finished in gloss black in 2015, and you can see it. It doesn't look like it's been on the road that many.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's got almost 9,000 miles on it. So I drive it an awful lot when it's dry. I'm not sure about today.
So you have in between today
Yeah.
a little bit of sprinkles.
So no, I wouldn't change a thing about it. It's the one thing I tell people about this car is that at the end of the day, it turned out exactly the way I wanted.
That's amazing.
Exactly, and I would not do a different thing about it.
I love that.
The interior is industrial, I'll put it that way. There's a lot of Roadsters running around that have a really nice leather interior, really nice. Nice interior didn't go with this car. It's pure hot rod in my opinion, and I wanted the interior to reflect that. So
I love that.
that's what it is.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your beautiful
welcome.
car with me.
Oh,
and
I'm glad you like it.
I'll hopefully be around to hear it start later.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
A little bit of a.
You'll know it when it fires.
I'll hear it from way over there.
It'll get your attention.
I'm here with Bob. Would you mind telling me what kind of car this is?
It's a 1951 Henry J.
Henry Jane. I hadn't heard
Henry
of that
J.
before. Henry J?
Just J.
J. I'd never heard of it before.
They were made by Kaiser Fraser in 51 to 54 is the only time they were ever made. Kaiser is Kaiser Aluminum, Kaiser battleships in World War II, and he decided to build a car. He built several cars, but this one was named after his son, Henry J. Kaiser.
That's
So
cool.
That's where it came from.
What inspired you to get this car?
When I was 12 years old, my uncle gave me two Henry J's. One of them was a running stock little 4-cylinder car, and he gave me a spare card for parts. And it wasn't exactly a Henry J, it was an Allstate, which was sold by Sears in their catalog. So you could buy one of these in a Sears catalog. So he gave me those two cars, and the little 4-cylinder car had no power, and so I wound up taking that Hulk that I had. I put a front end under it, put a rear end under it. I bought a Chrysler Hemi, similar to this but without the blower, for $40 from my sister's boyfriend. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I put the engine in and got it running when I was 15. So my dad made me get rid of the car because he knew I was going to die in it. So I always looked for one, and finally found this body in New Orleans. And I went down there and bought it.
Wow. And Mike was saying that you built essentially both, or had your hands in your car, obviously, and his.
Right.
And so yours is a Hemi as well?
Correct.
Yours is the same exact Hemi as Mike's then?
Very similar, yeah.
Very similar. What makes yours different? How are they different?
He's running an 871 blower, mine's a 671. I'm running more overdrive than he is, so they still wind up being about the same power. I have to push mine a little harder to get the same performance.
Okay, it's really interesting. Like all these different components are all new to me, and like they all look different. They look also kind of the same,
Right.
and not knowing from the outside what they are. Do you just drive it on the street? You said you have overdrive.
Yeah, yeah, it's just a driver. I mean, we have a lot of fun with it. I've taken it down the track and had, fun like that. But I've got like 27,000 miles on it now.
Wow.
In the last 10 or 11 years since I built it. It does good. I drive it on the highway, and we went to New Orleans in it here a while back, and it's probably a 400-mile trip one way. No issues. It's just a good old car.
Well, and I noticed too, the belt is huge. Why is it so big in comparison to most cars where I see them much smaller?
Well, if you look at the bottom, there's a small belt down here that drives the alternator.
Okay.
But this drives a supercharger, and a supercharger takes a lot of horsepower to push the air into the engine.
Okay.
So they have to have a cogged belt so that it actually grabs positively, whereas a V belt just kind of has a V and it rubs down in there. This one has a cog to a cog, so it makes it where it's a positive drive.
Wow.
It can't slip.
That makes a lot of sense. I've always wondered too. And which one's the supercharger? Is that what this is?
This is a supercharger.
Supercharger, okay. Okay, I'm like watching it all connect. And do you have air conditioning and stuff on this too, or does it gets a little bit hot then during the summer?
It's got a great heater.
It's built in.
Yeah.
How cool. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. As I said, I'm learning all this stuff, and who would have thought just coming to car shows, just asking questions, that people like yourself are willing to share that information and, hopefully get some more people interested. And
Car people talk about their cars. We love them.
I love
Have
that.
a good time with them.
Thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate
You bet.
it. And
Thank you.
I'm going to look forward to hearing yours later today too. Janet and I just ordered some brisket tacos, waiting for the food, and figured to show you guys a little bit behind me. This is where they're entering to do the tour, and they have some cars sitting over here. Earlier when I was doing the interviews, we were further on that side. Right behind me are all the food trucks. I'll turn around in a second. We have some more cars over here, got some more trucks, and these are the food trucks. And supposedly they do this every year at their shop, so if this is something you guys are interested in attending, it's really cool. There's a lot of really awesome people. They're selling swag. I think they're doing a raffle. They have food trucks, obviously, doing a shop tour, and then you can really learn about what it is that they have to offer and get to know the employees and really see that it's a really great culture.
So this is our R&D shop. This is where everything starts. This is where we develop the SureFit kits for our products. Here the Mustang and the truck and this other Mustang over here are going through a conversion from our Gen 4 to Gen 5 systems. So we already have SureFit kits for these vehicles, but we're upgrading them to our newest technology systems. When I say SureFit kits, we have kind of two ways you can air condition your car. Either a SureFit, if we have a kit specifically for your vehicle. It's a bolt-in kit. You don't have to make any brackets or modify anything to speak of. It's made for you to bolt in your garage. We also have what we call custom fit or builder series kits, and those are more universal evaporator and condenser systems, and we'll set you guys up with the components you need to be able to install it. So on these two lines, and you could split up and go down both lines and maybe come back later and look at the other side, but we call it a single piece flow linear production line. So on this side here, you've got 8 stations, and each step of the way you're doing 1/8 of the total assembly of the evaporator. Here you can see we're taking the heat exchangers, the evaporator coil, and the heater coil, marrying them up with the cases. You'll take those two cases, put them together, and add a blower. From there, you'll glue the blower all up, you'll glue the case all up, and this is a buffer here so the glue can dry. So the amount of cases on the buffer give you enough dry time where then you can go to the next assembly operation. Here we'll add the motors and doors. Then we'll add the electronics, the blower speed controller and the ECU.
finish all the wiring up, and then a final check at the end of the line. Every unit gets a check at the end of the line. We're checking for door operation, blower operation, noise, vibration, any errors on the ECU. We're pressure checking the coils to make sure that there's no pressure decay. Everything's operating properly. And then that goes into the bag and gets joined up with the accessory kit, and you end up with a complete evaporator kit that's 1/3 of the total system. Same thing's happening on the Gen 5 side there, but it's injection molded parts, different motors, different ECU, different blower speed controller, but same basic steps. And then on this shelf here, you've got a combination of both. If you take a look at the stickers on these different units, you'll see they're all different applications. And they have a order number on them, and that order number ties back to whatever customer bought it. So if you call for troubleshooting or something like that, we'll ask you for that order number, and we're going to know its history, when it was built and everything. We know what it is.
I just met Jack, the founder of Vintage Air. I'm so excited to meet you for one.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Why did you want to start Vintage Air?
Well, I needed a job, for one thing, but I just gotten out of the service. I was in the Air Force and got out, and I was looking for something to do, and I wanted to be in the manufacturing business, always did, besides just a kid, and so I got a few manufacturing jobs after I got out of the Air Force, and then, you know, one day I decided I would try making air conditioners, because I had a friend in the valley in Harlingen, a guy named Milton Jones, and he didn't make air conditioners, but he sold air conditioners, and I lived down there for a while, so I was around him and I saw what they were doing, and oh, air conditioners, I didn't even know you could do that, you know. And so anyway, forgot about that, and years later I got in a position where I kind of needed to do something, and I went to the Street Rod Nationals in Memphis, Tennessee, and I saw one or two cars that had an air conditioner in their car, but I knew they didn't have it right. So I thought, okay, if you did this right, it looks like it's getting to where maybe these old cars owners would like to have an air conditioner in their car, because hey, maybe then their wives would drive with them, and that turned out to be the truth. And so I rented a very small space, just about the size of this car, and started making the molds to make the cavities for the evaporator, and then one by one I made it. Then the next thing I did was made a compressor mounting bracket. These are all components that you have to have. And then I designed a condenser and had a company in Michigan make that condenser. And then the hoses were not that hard to get. So I was able to build those components, and I went to the Street Rod Nationals in Memphis again, and had a little booth, and you know, just was sitting there with these pieces, and people just kind of started lining up, and it was like, you know, maybe we got something here. And so from then on, it just never slowed down, and we moved into a bigger space, bigger building that is over on I-35, and then we outgrew that building, and we moved into another building across the street from there, which is also on I-35, and then outgrew that building, and then, you know, it looked like I needed to build a little bigger building this time, and so we built this building. It was smaller. It's about half this. It's about half. It was about half of the size that this building is now, and we didn't take long to run out of space. So that time, then I added on a bigger amount of space on the back, And then we went up and we built these offices upstairs for offices because we needed more offices. And so it was just a continuing thing, and we just kept adding what needed to be added where we needed to. And we got as much equipment so that we could do all of the processes here instead of buying them from somebody else. So we started molding our own air conditioning units, making our own coils, making all the components basically, and now we can make every single component that's needed pretty much in-house here at Vintage Air. So, you know, that's in a nutshell, that's pretty much how it all happened. And it's all because the car guys started driving their cars cross country, and when they started driving across country, of course the wives, their wives all, you know, would say, hey, I want to go. Now, some didn't, but they would go, and then in order for them to go, the condition was you got to put air in that car. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the story.
The really cool thing I've noticed is that the culture and community, when I came here to do the shop tour in January, just the environment is really cool. Like, you not only created a good product that people want, the only air conditioning company I hear of with classic and collector car stuff is Vintage Air. That's why I want to talk to you, because like that, I don't know of anybody else. That's how well known you are. And then coming in here and doing the shop tour, and Rick knows everybody's name. Like, everybody here is so proud of what they do, and being able to meet you, that's something really cool from an outside perspective, to be able to experience that. You open up your doors to the customers. We just took a tour, and everybody's, you know, listening to how everything works. And to me, that is, you could create a good product. It's a step above what you guys do more, which is really, really cool. Do you have any advice for maybe some other entrepreneurs that are like, oh, well, maybe I want to try to start a business? Like, you've been in the business for how many years?
Well, 46 years.
So would you have maybe like one or two things that maybe you could go back in time and tell your past self that could potentially help other entrepreneurs with encouraging them going forward?
Well, I don't know that I'm any example, but I think the most important thing in business is finding something that you really would like to do, you know. And if you like to do mechanical things, or if you think you might want to be get involved in manufacturing, you know, find something that you think would be something you would want to do. And I think the passion to make that work is a big, that's an important part of the combination. You're going to have to work harder than your buddies that have a regular job. It's just the way it is. You have to work harder, but it's worth it down the road if you chase your passion. And
this is what happens when you chase your passion. This is amazing.
Yeah, it can happen. It's amazing to me. I'm so proud to be part of it all.
I'm just grateful to be here.
Yeah.
This is great. So thank you so much, Jack.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it, and taking
bet.
the time to talk to me. So
yes. I'm so glad you were out and doing a great job. We appreciate you coming, and hopefully we'll do it all again.
Yeah,
next
sounds
year.
good. Yes.
Okay.
I had a complete blast. I hope you guys did too. My favorite part was meeting the founder and being able to share from my perspective of how amazing this community and culture is, that it starts at the top. You don't get something like this just out of nowhere, and being able to be a part of everything going on and meeting everybody, interviewing some amazing people, and being invited back out. Dirty Ernie, he paints, and he was like, well, if you want to come out, watch me paint. So I guess I'm going to have to find another time to be able to come out here and be able to hang out with more of the San Antonio folks. And I know eventually I'm going to be coming back to Vintage Air. So it's really, I am filled with gratitude. I appreciate all of you guys too for joining me, and I will see you guys next week.